What's going on, fam? Coming on live and direct. I wanted to do a video because I was sitting here reading some scriptures and it really did have like a profound effect on me. I'm kind of sitting here and I'm meditating on it, and I want to share, and I actually want to ask y'all some questions. Um, so first thing first, I'm studying Romans and I'm currently reading Romans 6. Romans 6 is very powerful. If you haven't read it, or if you haven't read it lately, go read it, because I think we need to start asking ourselves some of these questions. For instance, one really good question to ask is, how shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? That's Romans 6 and 2. I asked myself that same question. Now, sin, don't lay it on the big things like, oh, I don't steal, I don't kill, I'm not this, I'm not that. What is your tongue like? You know what I'm saying? Are you having a problem, with your tongue? Because I know that's me. Like, my mind, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that are so important. What type of thoughts are you producing? Like, these are things that are really sin that lives within you, and things that need to be dealt with. So are there anything within you, is there anything within you that needs to be purged out, basically? And within me, yeah, there's some things that are still there. And when I see in Romans 6 and 14, when it says, for sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law but under grace. First thing first, I understand that the law he's referring to is the sacrificial law. Of course, he's not telling them there's anything wrong with loving your neighbor, or thou shalt not kill. Nah, that's not what he's talking about. Those are all laws. Those are from the 10 Commandments, and he's not talking about that. There's a certain law that's being practiced. There is a sacrificial law that people are still following. This is the culture. A lot of people have been doing sacrifices for a very long time, and this is still a really big issue. And so, for sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but you're under grace. And guess what? The law, the sacrificial law that he's referring to, it did not cleanse your conscience from sin. If you go to Hebrews chapter 9, it talks about the temporary sacrifices by the Levites. First thing first, you got to understand you got to know what he's talking about and understand the culture. The law that a lot of people were partaking in was the outdated form of the sacrificial law. A lot of people didn't understand that the Messiah's sacrifice, this was the law that was supposed to cleanse your conscience from sin. See, they had to come to Jerusalem and make yearly sacrifices over and over and over. There was no real dealing with sin. It was a temporary fix. But the Messiah, on the other hand, he dealt with sin once and for all. And if you read Hebrews 9 and 10, it really goes into depth. And so when he tells us, for you shall not have dominion, for sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but you're under grace. This grace is this power, this healing, and Isaiah knew exactly what this healing was going to be. He told us in Isaiah 53 that we will be bruised. He was bruised for our transgressions, and the chastisement of our sin was upon him, and through his stripes we're healed. And see, this was prophecy that's being awaited for. This is something huge. This is epic. This is a time when our real problem the Father has with us can be dealt with. This is why the Messiah is so huge, because you can't really have the sin thing dealt with once and for all without the Messiah, without that sacrifice. And so all of us, we claim to be quote unquote believers in the Messiah, and we have faith in his sacrifice, but guess what? Where's our healing? Why aren't we being healed from this sin? And you can't be like, well, I'm healed, I don't know what you're talking about. Do your community know you? Do your next door neighbor know you? what type of fruit has totally left a mark on the world around you? I'm not talking about Facebook and we get on there and we give scriptures. Man, I'm talking about, why haven't we had a whole revolution around us? You know what I'm saying? We have so much going on. I don't care if you call yourself a Christian, or even the people who have the understanding of the law, you know, to keep Torah and the Sabbath and things like that on both ends. Why isn't your community, why isn't my community revolutionized, man? Why do we still have so many contentions among us? You know, why hasn't this sin issue still why hasn't it been eradicated, basically? Not that we'll always be flawless, because, you know, perfection isn't even flawlessness, it's wholeness, you know, being in a state of wholeness when we're not just totally overtaken by the same issue over and over and over again. And so my question to you is, have you really been raised to a newness of life? Are you still struggling with things like your tongue or your attitude? See, these are the kind of weightier things of the law that people don't really take into consideration. You know, you might keep the Sabbath, but for real, are you loving people? Do you stand for justice? Are you really out there standing in the gap for those who don't have nothing, for the homeless, for the people in the prison system? Half of our men are in jail. You know, how many people are engaging in the prison ministries, you know, going in there at least trying to make sure these people are spiritually taken care of? There's a lot of things that the Messiah said that's really huge. I don't know if y'all remember that parable when he talked about the sheep and the goats, and he was saying basically, if you didn't take care of the least of men, you didn't take care of me. And the least of men were the outcast of society. You know, you ain't gonna find the outcast of society on Facebook. You know, the outcast, the real outcast, you gotta go out there and you gotta seek them out and you gotta tend to them. Those are his sheep, you know. And this walk is really serious. And not even that, just the stuff within us, you know, not even looking at our communities, which are ravaged and not taken care of by those who are quote unquote awakened, you know. Even the sin that's within us, man. I got some crazy thoughts that you don't even want to know. And guess what? I'm supposed to be renewed. You know, when he talks about you ain't even under the law, you're under grace. Why does sin have dominion over you? He's asking you, look, you're not under the type of sacrifice that doesn't bring healing to your conscience. You're under a sacrifice that actually brings healing and wholeness to you. This is power given to you from the Father through his Son. This is the sacrifice that has been prophesied about. This is huge. Yeah, my community, my brethren, we all seem so typical, you know. We're conceptually spiritual. That's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm seeing in myself. So my question is to everybody else, how are you seeing the world? How are you seeing the quote-unquote spiritual ones that are among you? Because maybe it's just me, but I'm seeing a spiritual community that's enlightened conceptually, but practically we are spiritually dead. Like, I don't see the fruit of our knowledge that we claim to have. I don't see the fruit of this faith that we claim to have in the Messiah, because Paul said this grace, you know what I'm saying, is supposed to allow us to have dominion over sin. And we know that this grace ain't just some type of mythological thing where, you know, the Messiah did everything righteous for us and we just make mistakes, but it's okay. No, this grace is power that was given to you. This is favor that you didn't deserve, but this is favor and power that's given to you that's going to help you, you know, to live and, you know, walk in this Torah, to walk righteously. And it's just, where's this power at? You know, we all heard these verses like, I can do all things through the Messiah who strengthens me. But where is this strength at? This power that was supposed to come through his sacrifice? And now I understand why Paul was everywhere asking people, why are you still keeping these laws? You know what I'm saying? Why are you still keeping this outdated form of the law when you have this sacrifice that is so huge, so powerful. This is the sacrifice of a lifetime. It brings healing. You have strength. Isaiah was telling you about this sacrifice a long time ago in Isaiah 53. Why hasn't this power transferred to us? Is it because we're not really putting real faith in him? Maybe it's all conceptual. Maybe it's all knowledge, but not something we're really believing within. It's something, but my question to you is, what do you think the problem is? You know, because we know about the Messiah. We know about his sacrifice. And I'm not only just talking about people who are ignorant to Torah, you know, who are ignorant to things about, you know, him telling us that we still have to keep the laws. I'm talking about people who actually know these things. Why are we still jacked up? Why are we still not coming together and being unified? You know, these are things he prayed about, for Israel to be unified and to be one, like him and the Father as one, and these things aren't taking place. And so I'm looking at myself as a part of the problem, and I think it's just something we all should kind of be thinking on, and we all should be evaluating within ourselves, trying to find out, okay, this power, this sacrifice was the hugest thing of all time. And how's it really changed the world? Does the world around us look any different, you know, due to this sacrifice, you know, that brought so much power? And I understand that wickedness is still going to abound. You know, you're still going to have wickedness. But what change do you see among those who have been regenerated, who have been renewed, quote unquote? Is there any change? Nah. I don't see it. Maybe you see it. Maybe you can help me look at things differently. I understand that we all are being converted daily. You know, I understand that. I understand there's a process we go through. But when will this kind of revolution break forth where you do see, you know, us awakened ones out loving each other, loving our communities, partaking in fellowship, not only with people we know, but with people we don't know. Like we say, the outcast of society. Like, when will we break bread with the stranger, you know, with the homeless, with those who don't even understand like we do, hoping that we could gain them, you know, things like that. So, y'all keep me in prayer, and keep us who claim to be in the know in prayer, because I don't think we got it all the way. And let's hopefully put our heads together and find out what we can do to be a better people, a better nation, and to make our communities better. So that's all for today. Bye.